Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business here at Jenzabar
Jam
2023, Orlando, Florida, Gaylord Palms Resort. I've got my friends with me today. I've got Chris Myers and Jeff Elliott from Jenzabar. Gents, what's happening?
Hello.
We're ready.
They told Helen was telling me that she was nervous to put you both on at the same time because you would be fighting over the mic.
That's right.
You are absolutely right.
Who will win? We will never know.
He's
here
my boss, so he's going to win.
Jam.
Jenzabar Jam. This is what happens at Jenzabar Jam. What happens is we intersect and interact with some of the most amazing people in and around higher education. Here's our guest today. She's Madison Jeffers. She's Student Services Coordinator at St. John's College of Nursing. Madison, what is happening?
Not a lot. It's been a slower day. This is my last day at Jam. I won't be able to attend tomorrow. I've got a very early start, but it's my first year, and it's been wonderful so far.
Well, that's awesome. Well, before we get into all those details, tell us about St. John's College of Nursing. Who do you serve? Where's the institution?
Yes, so we're located in Springfield, Illinois, and we currently serve 14 different communities between Illinois and Wisconsin. We are the oldest Catholic-based nursing institution in the United States. We've been around since 1860 or 1886.
Amazing.
And we serve both graduate and undergrad programs.
Amazing.
Yes.
See, I told you would say
It's
three
amazing.
amazing things in a row.
Trifecta.
So, first time at Jam.
Yes.
Talk to me about what your expectations were coming in, what your experiences was like while you were here, or is like while you've been here, and did it meet your expectations?
And how did I disappoint you?
Well,
Jam.
so I'm totally new to Jenzabar and Sonus. At my previous institution, we used something completely different. So as far as my training back at home before coming to the conference, I've been very happy with that. But there is constantly things that I need to learn. The people that were in my position prior to me, they set it up just different than how I would have set it up.
Outrageous.
So coming in, I was definitely hoping to find, some tips and tricks on how I can redo the current processes. And everyone that I've met so far on the Jenzabar and Sonus teams have been wonderful, super helpful.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's been your biggest takeaway? Give me one thing that is just, you know what, I'm going to go back to my institution and this is what I'm going to do.
Well, probably one of the other institutions that I met here, it was actually a seminary school in Chicago, Illinois. They did present for an online application seminar, and that was just wonderful, being able to talk to them and how they do everything that they do. They kind of had to do the same thing I'm going to have to do this summer, where we have to kind of redo everything that people did prior to us. So getting that contact was wonderful, and being able to get to know them and know that I am able to reach out to them and not submit quite as many support tickets as I do every week.
Gents, they told me you were going to talk, but you've been silent so far.
Listen, she's outstanding, and she's already said some outstanding stuff. Chris is one of the key PMs over Sonus, Joe, and is absolutely the person to work closely with a school like that. It's such a noble, nursing and all that. It's such a noble calling, and I'm sure your institution does a great job with that.
Yeah, enrollment's such a big thing, and I love their session too. So I got all the sessions and got to determine who got to present at Jam this year, and I was really grateful that they were doing that, because the multiple online applications new. It didn't always exist in Sonus. We had only a single application capability for a very long time. So that's really opened up a way to split it apart by department, by program, and a lot of people are starting to take advantages of it. But seeing a working example really helps.
Yes.
And it's outstanding that, you're willing to take a look at how the system has been set up. We see that all the time. We see schools who are like, I've been doing this for 20 years the same way. Well, okay, your students don't go through education the same way as they did 20 years ago. So, your willingness to take a look at a system and go, man, if we saw this differently this way, or we reimagined this problem and reconfigured the system to better meet what we need, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
When you go in there and you look at the system and you said it's not configured the way you would have done it, and you start to give your ideas on the way you would have done it, what is that reception like?
So far, it's been very well met. The team that we have currently, we deal with Jesse Hall and Audra, and they're really wonderful about setting up training times. And even when I do submit support ticket after support ticket, they're answered immediatally. And it's
You
usually
submit a lot of support tickets.
I'm the reason that the
I can look
the
up that
percentage-
number.
Yeah.
I would rather you didn't.
Okay.
But I get a lot of feedback from them in the way that it's handled quickly, and I know why the problem was what it was. It's not just fixed for me. I'm able to then pass it on to the other staff that I work with so that it doesn't happen again.
Talk about student services with us. This is an area I know we're all familiar with. It's see how many of these I have done
Easy
today.
for you to
Yeah.
say.
Serving students is not easy work.
No.
Talk about nursing students. What are the services that they're taking advantage of most? What are they saying about education?
Mhm.
Are they sticking with their programs? Are they debating whether nursing is the right career or not? Right? There's been a lot of talk around, people aren't going into healthcare anymore because of COVID, but then
Mhm.
it's like there's lots of people going into healthcare because of the opportunity.
Right.
What's true and what's not true?
Well, I think, everyone is seeing a decrease in enrollment, but especially with nursing, all of my students are coming in as juniors. So they're transferring in. We are not a 4-year. And so the students that I get are pretty non-traditional, and they know that they want to go into nursing. I don't really have anyone on the fence.
So is this you offer the 2 years of nursing school?
Yes.
So they come and they go somewhere and get their gen eds, and then they
Mhm.
come into you for the last 2 years.
Yes.
So they can go to community colleges, private colleges, wherever.
Yes. Most of ours, they go to a community college, or they will do. We have a partnership with StraighterLine.com, so they can
Straight
actually,
line, yeah.
they can do all of their prerequisites on there, completely online, self-paced. It's a really attractive option for them.
That reduces their cost a lot. by taking
Absolutely,
straight-
absolutely. And then we're starting at the end of this summer. We are going to initiate our partnership with the Greenville University, so they can do their first 2 years on the Greenville campus and then finish that BSN with us. So we're expanding how we're getting our students to the end of their degrees, and it's really exciting.
And rather creative, which
Yes.
is something we've been talking about the last few days, is the creativity in higher ed that's driving different ways
Yes.
to get the same job done is pretty cool.
Yes, you have to adapt, especially with everything that's going on in healthcare and just in higher education in general, because I know that all across the board, colleges and universities are seeing a decrease, not just in the initial enrollment, but that retention.
Nailed it.
And so we're just trying to combat that, and get ahead of it.
How does it work? Okay, so I've got a 2-year associate degree. I'm going to come in to the College of Nursing. Do I have to apply to the College of Nursing if you do have a spot? Because I think the nursing, the Board of Nursing controls or can give you like how many students you can accept or how many can you take? Can you take as many students as you want? You have to maintain ratios, all those types of things.
Well, we do have a certain enrollment cap, and then if that cap is met, we then discuss if we need to add more faculty, if we need to start looking at expanding our locations and things like that. We're associated to the St. John's Hospital, and so we do have a huge community of health within our health system, and so depending on the program, the cohort sizes vary, but currently we're just meeting our enrollment cap. So we do hope, as we're projecting in the next couple years, that we will expand our faculty and our locations as well.
I would really hope because I was actually poring over the Bureau of Labor Statistics, like all good people do.
It's
after
fuzzy
work.
math.
That's what I did last
Lots
night.
of Excel
It's
spreadsheets.
fuzzy math.
And I mean, if you look at, they have like 19 indexes, and one of the indexes is, the top 10 greatest job growths between now and 2031, and registered nurses and healthcare workers and assistants are right in the top 10.
Yeah.
So you would hope that would turn around, even if there's an enrollment dip because of COVID. I know personally many people that work at the University of North Carolina in the dean's office who constantly tell me that there's a nursing shortage there.
Well,
So-
it's funny too, like talking about the numbers, and I look into some of that too, Chris, and I go at it a different way. And what I would see for a school of nursing too is the flip side, right? Like we've heard in higher ed, Chris, you and I have talked about this at length, the dwindling pool of eligible students, right? And that's just baby boomer numbers dropping and all that.
You can't handle the truth.
The lifelong statistic projections, people living longer, but not as healthy. And, because of our sedentary lifestyle, bad eating habits, all that stuff. People are living longer, but needing more care. Right. So that does create more opportunity for nurses. And I think that's a lot of
there's going to be certain industries that are more immune than others to that. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. And I think nursing and healthcare has got to be one of them.
Yes. Well, and with nursing, we're moving, to a point where nurses will have to have a baseline degree. We won't be able to just have our associates, that ADN. And so, we're really trying to encourage our nurses to get that BSN that will, give them more, career growth opportunities. And then we really want them to go on to get that terminal degree. So we do offer our grad programs. And, once you get that doctorate, that DNP, you're set. You can move around how you want to, rather than going, MSN and then DNP.
And your model is fantastic. And Joe, this has been a common theme too, different ways to imagine students being able to afford higher ed, right? And this school is focusing on what they do well, which is not Math 101 or Psych 100 or Philosophy 210, right? This is a model we're seeing happening across higher ed too. Get my gen eds at a community college, which is a much more affordable experience, and then leaping to that 4-year experience to finish off in my specialty. And you guys are out ahead of that.
Yes.
Yeah. And Sonus started as a nursing school support software.
Sonus did?
It did.
Wow.
Yeah.
You learn something
I didn't
new
know
every
that.
day. Yeah.
I just learned something at the end of the day for the first time.
Exactly. So they still make up about over 25% of the customer base.
It's a great
So it's
fit.
important.
Yes.
It's important to us.
That's interesting. That's an interesting factoid that you should have shared the first
Yeah,
couple
so you could have had a
Joe.
soundbite for it.
Talk about your role a little bit. Why do you do what you do?
Well, so previously in my other institution, I was in financial aid, and I wouldn't say that I had a passion for that. So coming in to within the admissions office and, specifically student services, I just like, helping the students throughout that admissions process, because it's going to be stressful for them as it is. And, having not necessarily a hand to hold, but, someone to lean on, I work best in a support area.
What do students need today to keep themselves going in school?
Especially nursing students.
Yeah,
That's such a stressful grind. It can be for sure.
Well, something that we have just started really pushing, which has been super impactful on our students, all of them, is what we call Kiara's Cove. So we have a food pantry at our institution. Our Dean of Students and our administrative assistant, Hannah Jugan and Angie Voudry-Brockman, have done amazing with it.
Amazing.
And it's a complete grocery store for our students. So even students who, wouldn't be your typical at risk or at need, they have families, they work full time, they're working night shifts, 12-hour shifts. Sometimes they just don't have time to get to class and also get lunch. And so they're
smart.
able to get everything that they need. And that's been the biggest thing for them. Yeah.
That's smart, because then if they're at the end of their day too, if they need to go home and make dinner for their kids, they hit the grocery store, get food, go home, saves them 20, 30 minutes away from hitting the grocery store. That's time they can use later to study and stay in their program, right? So that's a retention tool.
Absolutely.
People think it's just a grocery store to help students, but it's a retention tool, isn't it?
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, and the time it saves on them having to leave campus to, get something and then come back, they use that time to join their study groups, and that can make a difference on whether or not they pass that exam that they're about to take or not.
Well, and the emotional well-being, it's got to support too, right?
100%.
Like just being amongst my friends who are about to stress over the same exam I am, rather than being at the store trying to figure out what box of macaroni and cheese am I going to grab and cook tonight for my kids.
Yeah. And it's not so much, an anonymous thing that we thought it was going to be, they're happy to go in together, shop around together, pick things out, stand and talk as if it was, a meeting place. It's really wonderful to see them do that.
What do you love most about Sonus and the product and how you use it?
I really like the functionality between the offices that I work with. So registrar, admissions, and my student services. We just recently started, using it to its, fullest capacity. Previously, we were only scraping the surface of it. So being able to incorporate everything that we do and funnel it into one system is ideal. And eventually we are going to get there. I just have to make it happen.
I'll help.
I was going to say, I know a couple of people that now you've said this now live on a podcast. You've got yourself help now. We'll bring them back on and say, hey guys, remember Madison? What's going on over there? No, we wouldn't do that to you guys. Well, well,
if you do it to me, I'm just going to send it to Chris anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
So you greenlight the students to take the NCLEX? Do you greenlight them? And do you keep track of that in Sonus?
So that's something that we just started talking about. We just began some NCLEX boot camps that we're really excited about. But our faculty hasn't been using Sonus really for their position. So, I'm hoping to go home, sit down with them, and be able to bring them into the mix.
That's JAM, Joe, right in a nutshell. Madison learns 5 or 6 different new things. That's what we hope everybody takes back from here. What are those things that you take back? I think I joked with you the other day. I have people come up to me all the time, go, when are you going to put this in the system? And I'm like, April of 2022.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And they uncover all of these pieces that now they can go back and make life more efficient for faculty, make life more efficient for admins and the students. And that's what, Chris and I hope for every year at JAM is folks are able to walk away with some of those moments.
Yeah. Well, and I'm hoping to get some of my faculty in on some of the focus groups too, because they can give a better perspective on certain things like clinical rotations that I'm not as privy to.
Yep, something we're looking into.
How do you get the faculty on board?
I asked them really nicely.
I was going to say, if you figure that out, bottle it, book it.
You say the magic word.
Yeah,
Pizza.
I have a pretty good.
I was
going
to say, what's the magic word?
Yeah, what's the magic?
It's change management. Will you contact Chris and say, help me get the faculty on board?
And you can do that.
You'll be CC'd on everything.
That is absolutely fine. Look, I've been in that room. I know what it's like, and we talked about this the other day, Joe. People get stuck in what they're doing, and they know how to do their job.
Yes.
Changing it, even in a really positive way, is an uphill battle.
It is.
You got to prove it to them, and then prove it over again and over again before they adopt. So
it's like that corporate methodology where prove to me I'm going to make $1 million before I give you 1,000 to get going, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, there's so much respect we have for nurses. Not that we didn't before, but you look post-COVID and you go, what would we have done without great nurses? We would have had a whole lot more deaths, a whole lot more people sick. Hopefully this is a career. My sister-in-law's a nurse, and it's nights and it's weekends. I mean, this is hard, patient-centered care.
Absolutely. Emotional baggage. It's just to know people who nurse is just incredible.
That's why I'm glad we could have you on the podcast. You can highlight the work that you're doing and that your institution is doing. We want to give you the final word to tell us anything you want to say about St. John's College of Nursing.
Yes, well, I think the biggest thing that I want people to know, something that I would consider a barrier when people look at our school, they see that we are a Catholic institution, which that is really, founded in our core values. But we will accept any and everyone, so long as you exhibit respect, care, competence, and joy. Those are our core values. So look beyond the religious aspect of it and see us as a place of higher education to get that nursing degree, which is such a noble thing to do.
Well, I have to say this is a great conversation, and it was made better by my two amazing guest co-hosts, Chris Myers and Jeff Elliott from Jenzabar. Oh, that was a wrong.
That's supposed to be the showcase winning soundtrack.
That was the wrong one. Let's try that again. Jeff Elliott and Chris Myers from Jenzabar. Jen, thanks for joining me.
It's great to be here.
Our guest, your guest. Here she is. She's got a lot of energy and a lot of passion for nursing. She is Madison Jeffers. She's Student Services Coordinator at St. John's College of Nursing. Madison, how did you enjoy your time here on the podcast?
It was a lot less painful than I thought. Yeah.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
I would.
Yeah.
Thanks to Chris and Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, you just EdUp